Hello beautiful humans of the world, let's get right into this Maleficent Halloween tutorial. We'll be starting with the eyes. First things first is priming. I'm going to be using a mixture of the Coverfx Power Play and the Anastasia Eye Primer. The Anastasia Eye Primer is just a bit too stark, so I like to mix with my concealer, and I'm using the Morphe E45 brush to blend all of that in. Before we really get started, let me take a brief tea break because I know this is going to be a long night. Any night that I'm doing my makeup for these creative looks are always a long night, and that tea was so good. I remember it very vividly. Getting back into the tutorial, I'll be using the RCMA No Color Powder to set my prime lids. Do not do what I just did. I regretted that immediately. Just use whatever residue is in the lid. I'll be using the same Morphe E45 brush to press all that powder in. Moving on to eyeshadow, I'm taking the color Fade from the XO Carnival Pro palette with my Morphe R39, and I'm putting this into the outer corner. I want to make sure to extend the eyeshadow so that it gives a nice lift to the eye, while also blowing the eyeshadow out towards the brow bone. Now I'm going to take the color Fade into the crease right between the brow bone and the bridge of the nose. I want to make sure to really blow out this color towards the brow bone. If your eyebrows aren't blocked out or shaved off like mine, just blow this color out into the brows. Going in with that Morphe E45 to soften the edges. With the same palette, I'm going into the color Intuition using the Sephora Pro Cut Crease number 24 brush. This brush is nice and dense to keep the color concentrated right on the outer corners and on the inner crease. I want to blend this color into the last color that we put down, but I still want there to be a smooth transition between the two. Going back with the Morphe R39 brush just to blend out the edges and reinforce the first color that we put down. Using the same palette, I'm going into the color Lights Out with the Morphe 506 brush. This is going to add that nice smoky effect and really add depth to this look. When it comes to using black eyeshadows, I prefer the technique of building up. I'll add little by little until I get the desired depth that I'm looking for. Between each layer of black, I'm going to go in with the previous brush just to make sure that the edges are blended and diffused. I don't want any harsh lines. I want it nice and diffused between each color. Making sure to keep this color as close to the socket as possible in the inner crease, and then blending it out with the previous brush. I want the blend to be as smooth and seamless as possible. Going back in with the primer combo that I used in the beginning of the video, I'm going to start carving out this half cut crease. It's not going to be a hard cut crease, it's going to be very soft and blended. Using the same palette, going into the color Pillow Talk with the Crown Brushes eyeshadow brush, I'm going to pack this color onto that base. I'm going to blend this color into the crease to achieve a smooth transition. After blending, some color payoff will be lost, so I'm going to go back in with Lights Out just to reinforce the color. And always remember, after adding more color, blend out the edges. This way you can keep everything soft and diffused. Keep blending until you are satisfied. Keep blending until your edges are that perfect balance between smooth and defined. As we can see, I am now satisfied with this blend. Moving on to complexion, I'm going in with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This is going to give a nice tacky base for my foundation to stick to. My foundation of choice for this tutorial is the Fenty Pro Filt'r in the color 310. Because I'm trying to achieve Maleficent's high and structured cheekbones without using prosthetics, I want to make sure that I'm using a foundation that is matte and flat. This is your friendly reminder to enjoy a cup of tea today. Before we begin chiseling out the face, I want to put down the highlights. I'll be using the Coverfx Power Play Concealer in G Medium 2 with the Morphe M166 brush. In order to really exaggerate the bone structure, I would suggest using a concealer that's at least 3 to 4 shades brighter than your actual skin tone, being sure to highlight all the high points of the face. I like to allow my concealer some time to dry down. This technique will maximize your coverage and also keep your concealer contained while blending. I'm using the Morphe G2 to blend out this concealer. This brush is literally a beauty blender on a stick. It blends concealer so effortlessly and gives you a really nice airbrush finish. Adding the highlight also helps to enhance the lift that we gave to the eyes. Alright, now we are getting into the contour. This is what's going to bring this Maleficent look together. I'm going in with the Coverfx Power Play in Indeed 5 and the Morphe M334 brush. As far as placement goes, definitely want to begin placing this contour just a little bit higher than you typically would, and also bringing it down straight parallel to the lips. I'm going to begin blending that color out, but I also want to allow the color to dry down a bit just so that it stays contained with where I'm placing it. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and contour my temples. We will be putting on a headpiece a little bit later, so this part of the contour doesn't have to be perfect. Going back to blend more of the contour, if you notice, I'm mostly blending down. I want to keep that sharper line at the top of the contour. This is what's going to give the illusion of the high cheekbones. The only time I'm going to blend that upper part of the contour is when I'm using a G2 just to soften it ever so slightly. And then I'm going to go in with the Morphe Y7 that I use for foundation just to soften the bottom half of the contour as well. Also, that mouth part, you want it to just casually begin to fade down. You don't want it to be as harsh as the top part of the contour. Going back in with the M334 brush to redefine the contour just in case we lost any of the color payoff with blending. I don't usually bake, but for this Maleficent look, it's imperative that you do. I'm going in with the Fenty Pro Filt'r Loose Powder in the color Butter with a dry Juno & Co. sponge. I absolutely love this microfiber sponge. It is definitely the best sponge out there, and it's only $6, so put down your $20 beauty blender and get yourself a Juno & Co. I'll be setting the rest of my face with the RCMA No Color Powder and a Morphe R2 brush. And if you thought we were done contouring, we are not. I'm going in with the Melt Cosmetics Contour Sculpt Stack with the medium dark contour color. Adding the extra contour powder is going to help enhance the cheekbones and also add that nice level of intense definition that we're looking for to achieve this Maleficent look. Chisel out that jawline. The assignment is to be nice and snatched like Maleficent. With that same color and a Morphe M506, I'm going to begin to contour my nose. I'm not going to talk through this part because I really can't articulate how to contour a nose. I can show you better than I can tell you, to be honest. Once all the contouring is done, we're going to dust away the powder that we set to bake using a Morphe M448 brush. If you followed all these steps, this is the part where trusting the process really comes together. Like, I'm literally flabbergasted by how good this looks. Clearly really feeling myself, but you did that, girl. You did a great job. Go ahead, finish up though. The goal of this contour is to find that perfect balance between sharp and blended. I'm going to use the Beauty K24 brush to give a little extra definition right at the edge where the contour meets the highlight. And to finish off the complexion, I'm going back in with that Morphe R2 brush just to make sure the edges are nice and diffused. Going back into the XL Carnival Pro to finish off the eyes, using the Hype with the Morphe M560 to pack this green color onto my lower lash line. I wanted to incorporate the element of green to pay a little tribute to the original cartoon version of Maleficent. Using the color Ecstasy from the same palette, I'm going to use my Morphe M562 to blend out the edges of the previous color. I'll be using a Morphe M512 to soften the edges. Off camera, I applied this headpiece that I found on Amazon. I applied lashes using the Kiss iEnvy Iconic 3D in the number 18, and I also added eyebrows using the Makeup Revolution Pomade in dark brown with my ABH 7B brush. Last but not least, lips. Going right on in with the Magnetic Matte Eye Color from Nudestix in the color Chocolate to define my natural lip line. I'm filling in my lips with the Fenty Stunna lip paint in Uncensored. Because I went with a cool toned eye, I want to complement it with a cool toned lip, so that's why I chose a really rich blue toned red. And this is the finished look. I'm just going to take a moment to admire all my hard work. I have been in this chair for a while, and this was also the moment I realized I forgot to put on my press-ons. So, yep, usually I get to this point and then I realize you forgot your press-ons. Great. I'm going to throw on those press-ons, and here is the finished costume. If you'd like to enjoy more creative Halloween looks, be sure to subscribe, comment, like, and share this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.